that we're thinking that the pandemic is over and that we're returning to normality. Well, of course, Wolf Tones won the Keegan Cup, the Senior Football Championship in 2021, and the Kentucky winning the Jubilee Cup as well. But are they going to be dethroned this year, or will they be successful in the defence of their titles? We'll find out that along with the intermediate as well, and the junior football and junior B football as well, and the intermediate hurling. So that's all coming up in the next couple of minutes. So stay with us tonight, and we'll find out how your club, who they've drawn, who they're going to be playing in the first round of the championships, and we'll also be working out who they're going to be playing in some of the groups, who they're going to be playing in the second rounds as well. But before all that happens, I'm going to call and have a word with the Cathaoirleach of Christian and me, John Kavanagh. John, I'm sure that, like most other people, you're very relieved that this is all happening tonight. Last year we had to have the draw almost behind closed doors, if you like, and so the games and the year before, etc. So it has been a very, very broken spell the last couple of years, but there are signs of a return to normality, and this is one of those great signs, the championship draws.
It is, Brendan, and first of all, I'd just like to welcome all the listeners to Hurling FM. It's great to be able to have them on here tonight. Yeah, it's great to be back to some sort of normality. Back here in Dunganny, you know, the last couple of years up in Park Halton, but we're inside thankfully tonight. It wasn't yesterday in the sunshine. But yeah, getting back there, and I suppose it's this time of year when the championship draws made, you have that excitement and anticipation of the championship coming up in July and August.
And of course, over the last 2 years, I suppose it's only fair to recognise the difficulties that the county board, that the clubs have had, but it has been a particularly tricky job and task for the CCCB who organised the fixtures.
Absolutely, and the CCC deserve great credit. We mentioned them last year as well as the draws, and had a very difficult job and got through the whole lot. But that goes back as well to the clubs as well, for their cooperation in it, and everybody working together, and that's what it's all about, and we managed to get everything together and completed. And
of course, every competition nowadays, in the modern day, they have to have sponsors as well, and I think that Christian and me and people who organised the sponsorship, they've found very, very loyal and you know, very friendly and generous sponsors over the years, and I think most of them are the same again this year, which is great.
Absolutely, we're very lucky here in Meath with the sponsors we have, both at county level and at club level for competitions. And over the 2 years when businesses, everything suffered, our sponsors were so loyal to us and it didn't let us down, never went wanting. So I'm just like taking this opportunity to thank all our sponsors, and we look forward to their support again, and we ask our players obviously to support our sponsors wherever possible.
So it's all systems go after tonight?
All systems go, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, John, and the best of luck with everything. We're also going to speak to the Secretary of the CCC, Niamh Regan. Niamh, you've been a very busy lady over the past couple of years. You could have done, like us all, and like everybody, you could have done without the pandemic and all the complications that it caused as well. How difficult has it been to get competitions finished?
It was very challenging, and during the unprecedented times of COVID, but with all the members of CCC, including Damien, who did fantastic work, and John Mark and other members of CCC, we and the clubs, I have to say, were brilliant. They did work with us, and it was very difficult, very challenging, but we got our competitions going, got everybody back out on the field, and played many games, and got lots of competitions finished last year, which we were delighted with. But it's teamwork.
And of course, can you tell us then, can you give us an idea, I think it's on the charts alright, when the first ball will be kicked in the senior championship, let's say, the intermediate championship. I know that some of them might start ahead of others, but when can we look forward to seeing that action, or does it depend on me getting progressing?
We hope in July to kick things off again, and hopefully both with the football and the hurling championships to get everything started off again, and looking forward then to another fabulous hopefully championship, both football and hurling, for the summer ahead.
And of course the CCC as always will be looking for cooperation from the clubs as well.
And we do, I have to say, by and large we see great cooperation from all the clubs around the county. We have 59 clubs, as you know, so they've got loads of work to do themselves as well in preparation. So we try as best we can to work with all the clubs, and in fairness they do. We do get great cooperation from everybody.
Niamh, congratulations on the job well done over the last couple of years, because no previous secretary of the Fixtures Committee has had to deal with what you've had to deal with. So well done, congratulations, and thanks very much. Niamh Regan there, the Secretary, Fixtures Secretary of the CCC. With that, I think we're ready to proceed with our championship draws, and we're going to start with the Ferryhouse Steel Senior Football Championship. And with us here we've got last year's winning joint captain Shane Glynn. He was a winning joint captain, of course, along with Keane Ward of the Wolf Tones team, and also Larry McGowan representing Ferryhouse Steel. Well, just to give you an idea of the teams in the hat, or to run through them anyway, they are the champions Wolf Tones, who were winning their second ever Keegan Cup last year. We also have the runners-up in the senior championship, St Peter's Dunboyne. With the 2 beaten semi-finalists, Ratoath and Dunamore Ashbourne, and the 4 beaten quarter-finalists, Nathena, St Columkills, Summerhill and Gael Columkill. And then we have the other half of the entry, really, the teams that didn't find themselves in the knockout stages of the championship itself, but did find themselves in the knockout stages for relegation. They were Moynalvey, Screen, Ballinabrackey, Centralstown, Simonstown Gales, Curraha and Navan O'Mahony's, who went all the way to the relegation final and survived by beating Dunshaughlin. And the other team, of course, the 16th team in the Senior Football Championship this year, and they are, I think Gales and Meath would very much welcome them back. And that is, of course, Trim. They've only won one ever senior title, but certainly they were very impressive in winning the intermediate title last year. So we're going to ask Shane Glynn to step over here, Shane and Larry McGowan, and Shane will draw the first team out. Now, the 4 first teams out, the first 2 teams out will play each other. The 3rd and 4th teams will play each other, and that will complete Group A. And then we'll do the next 4 will comprise Group B, the next 4 Group C, and then the 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th teams out will comprise the final group in the Senior Football Championship for the Keegan Cup, and that will be Group D. So Shane, to you, you have the honour of drawing the first team out. And no looking in the cup, absolutely none. So Shane is going to draw the first team out, and Shane has drawn Centralstown. So Centralstown the first team out, and Larry will draw the second team out. So Larry has drawn St Columkills. So it's Centralstown against St Columkills, that's our first pairing. So Shane draws the next team out. And the next team out is Wolf Tones, the defending champions. So Wolf Tones are the 3rd team out. And the 4th team out, the team that will play Wolf Tones in the opening round, Larry, is Screen. So it's Wolf Tones against Screen. Now we go on to Group B, that's the Group A complete. On to Group B, and the first team out of the hat, Shane, is Trim. So who will Trim play on their return to the Senior Football Championship? Larry will tell us, or will pull the ticket to see who that is. So it's Trim versus Navan O'Mahony's. That's a very interesting one, because there's a former Navan O'Mahony's man managing Trim and a former Trim man managing Navan O'Mahony's. That is Kevin Riley and Darren LaFay coming up against each other on the sideline, managing those 2 teams in the first round of this year's Senior Football Championship. This kind of thing always happens where there's an angle on the games. Now, that is, they're the first pair in Group B. Now, the second pair in Group B, and Shane has drawn out Moynalvey. So Moynalvey are going to be playing in their opening game. They will play Curraha. So it's Moynalvey and Curraha. So Group B is complete there with Trim, O'Mahony's, Moynalvey and Curraha. Group C. First team out in Group C is Gael Columkill. So Gael Columkill beat the finalists a couple of years ago. Didn't make the last 4 last year. But it's Gael Columkill. And they're going to play Dunamore Ashbourne, and I think that was the team that knocked them out of the championship at the quarter-final stage in 2021. So that's Gael Columkill against Dunamore Ashbourne, and Ratoath, the 2019 and 2020 champions, Ratoath. So Larry, who is your team going to be playing, Larry, of course.
That's a tough group.
Ratoath are going to be playing Simonstown Gales. So it's Ratoath against Simonstown Gales, and the other pairing in that group is Gael Columkill and Dunamore Ashbourne. Now the last 4 teams will comprise Group D. So Group D in the Senior Football Championship, and Shane Glynn has pulled out Ballinabrackey. So Ballinabrackey in their second year in the Senior Championship. And Ballinabrackey will play Nathena in a big local derby. And a draw match, I think, last year when they met. That was a draw match. So Balnabrackie and Mafina, that is a big South Meath derby, and it's a first round game this year. And the last two teams out of the hat, St. Peter's Dunboyne, and St. Peter's Dunboyne will play Summerhill. So Summerhill against Dunboyne, and the other two teams in that group are Mafina, that will be an open derby with Summerhill as well, and Balnabrackie. So a bit of a South Meath element to Group D in the Senior Football Championship. We recap on it now. Our thanks to Shane Quinn, joint captain of the Wolf Tones teams that won the Keegan Cup last year, and Larry McGowan representing the sponsors Ferryhouse team. So to recap, the Ferryhouse team, the Senior Football Championship 2022, Group A, it's Central Down against St. Colin Kills, Wolf Tones against Screen. In Group B, it's Trim against Navan and Minority against Currahan. And Group C has Gael Columkill against Dunmore Ashbourne and Ratoath against Simonstown Gales. And Group D, Balnabrackie against Nafiana and St. Peter's Dunboyne against Summerhill. And I think there are four very evenly balanced groups. So you wouldn't want to be putting your hat or your shirt on any team to go out there. It's really all up for grabs. It couldn't be more evenly chosen. Now we will move on to the Intermediate Football Championship, which of course is sponsored by the Meath Farm Group, and we welcome here Philip Meath from the Meath Farm Group, and thank you again for your generous sponsorship of the Steve, of course, and also to make the draw is Alan Douglas. Alan will go that side, Philip, he draw the first team, and you will draw the second team. This time we have 18 teams rather in the Intermediate Football Championship. That's 2 groups of 4 and 2 groups of 5. And the first 2 groups out will be the 14 groups, and the second 2 groups out will be the 5-team groups. So we're going to start off. Alan Douglas, the winning captain for Trim last year, he won't be involved in the Intermediate Championship this year. He'll be playing senior football with Trim, playing O'Mahony's in the first round. So Alan, would you draw the first team out in the Intermediate Championship, please? Shopton, of course, are in the Intermediate Championship group this year, but the first team out is last year's runners-up, Old Castle. So Philip, if you draw the second team out, and the second team out that play Old Castle is Walterstown, also in the knockout stages last year they were beaten semi-finals. So it's Old Castle against Walterstown is the first pairing. The second pairing is St. Michael's, going very well in the league this year, St. Michael's. And St. Michael's will play St. Vincent's, up from junior, playing their first game for many, many years at the intermediate level. So that's the Group A complete, that's a 14 group. Now another 14 group, Group B. Alan has drawn Nobber. So Nobber, they won it just a couple of years ago, but not down in intermediate last year and this year. And Nobber will play Dunderry, who are also having a good league run at the moment. Dunderry were beaten quarter-finalists last year. Nobber were as well beaten quarter-finalists last year. Next out is Drumbarra. So Drumbarra, and who will Drumbarra play? Drumbarra, they've never won the intermediate championship. They will play Longwood. So Longwood won it in 2018, and that group is complete. Now we go to a 5-team group, and the 5th team drawn, that will be the 3rd team drawn by Alan, in fact. The 5th team drawn will have a first round bye. So the first team out of the hat in Group C is Kilmainham. And Kilmainham, going well in the league as well at the moment, and Kilmainham will play Bective. So it's Kilmainham against Bective. Familiar rivals they are, Kilmainham and Bective. And the next 2 teams out of the hat are St. Patrick's, who survived relegation. They were in the relegation battle last year, survived it. St. Patrick's will play Blackhall Gales. So Blackhall Gales and St. Patrick's, they met in an intermediate final, so many in the year 2000, I think it was. Now the team with the bye, just the one team this time, Alan, and you have drawn Shockman back down in senior. They have been up there since winning the intermediate championship in 1997, but lost that relegation playoff. They lost the relegation playoff too. We call that one. No, we go back yet. Okay. They lost the relegation playoff for O'Mahony's and Shockland did, and Shockland are the team with the bye in Group C. So Group G is also a 5-team group, and Alan will draw the first team out. And he's drawn Rathkenny, who were beaten semi-finalists last year. And Rathkenny, Philip, will play Ballivor. So it's Rathkenny against Ballivor. Rathkenny won the intermediate in 2006. Ballivor, of course, won it in 2002 famously. Clonagale are the next team out in Group D. So it's Clonagale against Duleek Bellewstown. Clonagale will play Duleek Bellewstown, and there should be one team left in it, and Alan will draw that one. The team with the bye is Meath Hill in Group D. So our thanks to Philip and of course to the Meath Farm Group, and our thanks to Alan Douglas as well. Just to recap on the Intermediate Football Championship draw for 2022, Group A is Old Castle against Walshtown and St Michael's against St Vincent's. Group B, it's Nobber against Dunderry and Drumbarra against Longwood. Group C, it's Kilmainham against Begdom and St Patrick's against Blackhall Gales, which are shocking, having a first round bye. And in Group D, it's Rathkenny to play Ballivor and Clonagale to play Duleek Bellewstown, with Meath Hill having a bye. Now, we move on to thanks very much, Marie. We move on to the Junior Football Championship, which was won last year by St Vincent's. And the St Vincent's captain, Ryan Hand, is here to make the draws, along with Larry Henry, chairman of the Wolf Tones Club, of which Enda Blaney and Sadie Blaney of the Bally's Bar, Restaurant and Guest Accommodation. They are, of course, members of the Wolf Tones Club. So Larry Henry, chairman of County Champions Wolf Tones, will do the draw along with Ryan. Now Ryan will pick the first team, and Larry, if you do what Philip did, just hold up the second team coming out of the pocket. So this time in the Junior B Football Championship, it's 2 groups of 5, 10 teams altogether in the championship. But just a reminder that in the Junior B Football Championship, the top 3 teams in each group will qualify for the knockout stages, and of course the remaining 2 teams in each group will qualify for the relegation playoffs, and the relegation final winner will stay in the Junior Football Championship, but there will be 3 teams relegated to the Junior B Football Championship for 2023. So every game absolutely vital, as they are in all of our championships. But Larry, if you come over here and do what Philip did the last time, you draw the second team, and the first team will be drawn by Ryan. And the 5th team, the one that you draw, the odd one, will have the first round bye. So 5 teams in each group. Here we go. Ryan Hand, captain of St Vincent's last year. The first team he's drawn is St Ultans. And Larry, St Ultans will play Ballinlough. Ballinlough down from intermediate. This is Group A in the Junior Football Championship. St Ultans against Ballinlough. Minotti in the same group as Ballinlough, their neighbours, and they will play Sidon, who are going very well in the league. But Sidon, I don't remember them ever playing junior football before. Now Ryan has drawn Dunsany, so Dunsany will have the first round bye there, and it's going to be a very competitive group there with Ballinlough, Minotti and St Ultans also in there, a very competitive group. We're going to move on to Group B of the Junior Football Championship, and again Ryan will draw the first team out, and that first team out in Group B is Castletown. So Castletown have avoided Sidon, that big local derby which everyone was looking forward to, but doesn't happen until maybe later on in the championship. But Castletown will play Carnaross in the first round. And the next pairing in the Junior Football Championship is Boardsmill against Moylough. Moylough down from intermediate. So it's Boardsmill against Moylough, and the team with the bye is Kilbride. So Kilbride have a bye in the first round of the Junior Football Championship. So let's recap on that. Our thanks to Ryan Hand and the best of luck in the Intermediate Championship, Ryan Hand and Larry Henry for doing the draw there for us. Just to recap, in Group A it's St Ultans against Ballinlough. It is Minotti against Sidon and Dunsany have a bye. But they're the 5 teams that make up Group A. In Group B, it's Castletown against Carnaross, Boardsmill against Moylough, and Kilbride are the team in Group B for the first round bye. Now, we're moving on to the Junior B Football Championship, and this is confined to the teams who haven't been so far involved in the championship draws at either senior, intermediate or junior level. Just 7 teams in total. This competition, this championship, is going to be run on a round-robin basis, and again it's sponsored by the Ballerie's Bar, Restaurant and Guest Accommodation. So Larry, if you come up again and represent Enda and Sadie Blaney of the Ballerie's Bar, Restaurant and Guest Accommodation, and our co-hurler John Kavanagh will do the necessary as well. John, we'll pretend that you're a captain of last year's winning team. So if you draw the first one out, and you'll also be drawing the team with the first round bye, the 7th team. So St. Mary's. St. Mary's are the first team out, and they will play St. Bridget's in the first round. The second pairing in the Junior B Football Championship, and John draws out Cortown, and they will play Drumconrad. It's Cortown against Drumconrad. Now, the 5th team out will play the 6th team, and the 5th team is Kilmainham-Wood. So Kilmainham-Wood will play Slane. And then the team with the first round bye, it doesn't really matter, they all have to play each other. The last team out is Clonard. So Clonard will have that first round bye in the Junior B Football Championship. Now, thank you very much, Larry, and thank you very much, John. The Junior B Football Championship pairings: St. Mary's against St. Bridget's, Cortown against Drumconrad, Kilmainham-Wood against Slane, and Clonard have a first round bye. Now we move on to just a reminder that any championships that are not drawn while we're live on radio will be drawn afterwards. That's the Premier Divisions 1 and 2 have to be drawn, Junior Hurling and Junior 2 Hurling as well. But none of those involve the first team of any club. So we'll have draws to do after we leave you on air. Now, the Senior Hurling Championship, and I do believe that CJ is here. So CJ Horthe, representing the sponsors, Ted Murtagh Clothing and Footwear in Trim, and we will have Seamus Harmon representing Kildalkey. Seamus is the Secretary of Kildalkey. They're the county champions, of course, having won it in 2021. And we have the first group is Group A, which is a group, it is regarded as the more elite group, if you like, and it provides 4 teams to the knockout stages, 2 semi-finals and 2 quarter-finals. And then Group B, another 6 teams in that, and they will provide the 2 quarter-finalists. So only 2 knockout places available from Group B, while there are 4 knockout places available from Group A. That is the big difference. So the teams in the hat for the Senior Hurling Championship in Group A: Kildalkey, Kiltale, Trim. Kiltale were the winners in 2018, Trim in 2020, Kildalkey in 2019 and 2021. Ratoath they were beaten semi-finalists last year. Kiltale were the runners-up. Trim were beaten semi-finalists as well. Ratoath have only just won the 1 title back in 1963. Nafina are also in it. They were very unlucky not to make the knockout stages last year, finished 5th in the group, beaten by Trim, and that went to a head-to-head. So they've been a bit unlucky last year. And St. Peter's Dunboyne, who were promoted from Group B, they were beaten quarter-finalists last year as well. So those are the 6 teams. We have 3 pairings, and Seamus Harmon, representing Kildalkey, will draw the first team out of the hat. Seamus. First team out of the hat is Nafina. And Nafina, drawn out of the hat by CJ, it's going to be Nafina and Trim. And they played a very important game, which Trim won last year in Rathmalline. Trim advanced and Nafina just went out on the head-to-head. That's the first pairing. Now, the second pairing in Group A. And Seamus has drawn his own club, Kildalkey. So Kildalkey are going to be in the same group as Trim and Nafina, and so are Kiltale. So the 2 finalists from last year, Kiltale and Kildalkey, they don't seem to be able to avoid each other. They just meet on a very regular basis. They met in the final. Kildalkey came out on top, but Kiltale have that chance. That's the second pairing. And the final pairing, the 5th team out of the hat, final pairing in Group A, and that is St. Peter's Dunboyne, up from Group B last year, and they will play Ratoath. St. Peter's Dunboyne against Ratoath. So the pairings for the Group A in the Senior Hurling Championship, it is Navina against Trim, Kildalkey against Kiltale, and St. Peter's Dunboyne against Ratoath. Now, Group B in the Senior Hurling Championship, only 2 knockout places available here. The 6 teams are Longwood, Killine, Kilmessan, Clonagale, Blackhall Gales and Boardsmill, who have been promoted from the Intermediate Championship after winning it last year. So that's Seamus Straw, the first team out here. Group B of the Senior Hurling Championship, and it is Longwood. Longwood with Keeving King in charge this year, and they will play Boardsmill, a big local derby there. Boardsmill back up to senior, having been successful in last year's intermediate. The third team out, or the first team in the second pairing in Group B, is Killine. So Killine, beaten quarter-finalists last year, and Killine will play Kilmessan. So Kilmessan, the winning most team in the Senior Hurling Championship with 29 successes, they will play Kilmessan in the first round, or they will play Killine in the first round this year. So the remaining two teams will come out of the hat now, and should be Blackhall Gales and Clonagale, and that's who it is. Blackhall Gales versus Clonagale. They were both in Group B last year as well, so they'll be facing each other again for the second successive years. So thanks to Seamus, and thanks as well to CJ for your sponsorship as well, and CJ and Seamus of course for taking part in the draw. Group B recap: it's Longwood against Boardsmill, Killine against Kilmessan, and Blackhall Gales against Clonagale. Now we move on to the Intermediate Hurling Championship, and this time Boardsmill of course were the winners last year, and the sponsors are Hanley Clean Meats, and I think Adam Hanley is here, and have we Neil McLaughlin, who have we? Keane Royston is representing Boardsmill here tonight. So Keane Royston will represent Boardsmill, Neil McLaughlin not available tonight, and Adam Hanley representing the sponsors at Hanley Clean Meats. Now the sixth in Group A of the Intermediate Hurling Championship are Wolf Tones, who were relegated from senior last year, Drumree, who were the runners-up to Boardsmill in the Intermediate Championship. Rathmalline were beaten semi-finalists, as indeed were Dundee, and the other two teams in are Navan O'Mahony's and Kildalkey. So Group A, again, 4 places available, 2 in the semi-final, 2 in the quarter-finals from Group A. So the first team out, drawing the first team out, Kieran, and he's got Dundee. So Dundee, the first team out. And Adam draws the second team out to see who will play Dundee, and that is Rathmalline. So it's Dundee against Rathmalline in the opening round. 2 teams that will fancy their chances of going all the way. The third team out then is Navan O'Mahony's. And Navan O'Mahony's will take on the team that Adam draws out is Kildalkey. That's Kildalkey's second team, of course. So Navan O'Mahony's against Kildalkey, Rathmalline against Dundee. So the other pairing in Group A has got to be Drumree, last year's runners-up, against the team that has come down from senior, Wolf Tones. So it's Wolf Tones against Drumree, Rathmalline against Dundee, and O'Mahony's against Kildalkey. That's Group A of the Intermediate Hurling Championship. Our thanks very much to Kieran representing Boardsmill. They're going to do Group B now as well, of course, and Adam, the sponsors from Hanley Clean Meats. So the teams going into the hat, or into the cup, as I should say, for Group B: Kilskeer, Milo are there, Dunamore, Ashbourne are there, Ratoath, Trim, Gael Columkill, and Kilmessan, who won last year's Junior Hurling Championship. The first team out is Dunamore Ashbourne, and Dunamore Ashbourne will play Trim. That's Trim's second team. Dunamore Ashbourne against Trim is the first round game in Group B. Then it's Ratoath, also their second team, and Ratoath will face Kilskeer Milo. Ratoath against Kilskeer Milo, and the last pairing is Gael Columkill, and Gael Columkill will play Kilmessan. So that's it. Our thanks to Adam and to Kieran very much indeed. Thank you very much for doing the draw for us. And just to recap on the Intermediate Hurling Championship draw, it's Dunamore Ashbourne against Trim, Ratoath against Kilskeer Milo, and Gael Columkill against Kilmessan. Now, thanks to Mairead Delaney, the rooney of Christian and Meath, for keeping a check there and keeping the record. And I'm sure you've all kept your own records as well. We're going to leave you now. Just a reminder, perhaps, of the The championships will be starting, will be getting underway roughly in July. Some things depend on others, but I think that's penciled in for July that the championships will be getting underway. There's a lot of further work to continue here tonight at our county board meeting, but I think everybody's quite happy that the draw has taken place. It's now time to start focusing on the championship and see who can get their hands maybe on the Keegan Cup, the Peter McDermott Cup, the Matthew McDonald Cup, or indeed the Jubilee Cup itself. Who will get their hands on those this year? You can all start focusing on that, but we'll be resuming the county board meeting here in a couple of minutes' time. But from us all here in the Meath GA Centre of Excellence, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for listening, and good evening.
Clean up well. Still live. On. Oh, what do you do across?
We're going to continue with the draws. They're sitting out live on the YouTube, so Brendan will continue on.
Junior hurling. Okay, we're going to do the Junior Hurling Championship draw, and for the Junior Hurling, it's one group of 6 teams, just the 6 teams in the Junior Hurling Championship, so it'll be 3 pairings. It's pretty straightforward, the Junior Hurling Championship, and the second and third teams from the top will play each other in a semi-final. The top team will go straight through to the final, so it'll be second and third in the semi-final. So 3 qualifying places in it. Martin and Meath. Get Martin O'Halloran, Chairman of the Hurling Development Committee, and of course Hurling Development and Promotion Committee, and Meath, CCC Secretary. So Meath, you go first and draw the first team out in the Junior Hurling Championship. First team out is Drumree. Drumree, I think, with 3 teams in hurling this year. St. Peter's Dunboyne. Drumree will play St. Peter's Dunboyne. Navan O'Mahony's will play Meath. So it's Navan O'Mahony's against Meath. And the final pairing in the Junior Hurling Championship is Killine. And Killine will play Kiltale. That is the Junior Hurling Championship. And I think we can keep going with the Junior 2 Hurling Championship as well. So if you can stay there for a moment, and I'll recap on the Junior Hurling Championship itself. Drumree against St. Peter's Dunboyne, O'Mahony's against Meath, and Killine against Kiltale. Now, the Junior 2 Hurling Championship, and the teams drawn first in the league section shall have home advantage if deemed suitable. This is where there's quite a difference from other championships. But all games in the Junior 2 Hurling Championship will be 15 aside. But if the club or a team is unable to field 15 players in any given fixture, that match can be played down to a minimum of 13 aside. So there are two differences in the Junior 2 Hurling Championship. So the first team out of the hat, the first pairing, or out of the cup I should say, is Clonagale. And Clonagale will play Boardsmill. Next team out, Meath, is St. Peter's Dunboyne, and they will play St. Patrick's. Then we have Dunderry, and Dunderry will play Kiltale. We want to hold that just for a second. How many teams have we in the Junior 2 Hurling Championship? 2 groups. So you have 6 teams. You have 6 teams gone. Dunderry and Kiltale is a pairing there. So we go to Group B, which has 7 teams. Yeah. Yeah. Last team was Moyle. Okay, it is Kilscare Moyle. And Kilscare Moyle will play Kildalkey. And then it's Drumree. Drumree will play Rathmaline. Ratoath. Ratoath will play Wolf Tones. And we've one more team left, and that's Trim. So it's Kildalkey against Kilscare Moyle, Drumree against Rathmaline, Ratoath against Wolf Tones, and Trim have a bye. That is the Group B. The group, I'll just recap Group A in the Junior 2 Hurling Championship. It's Cannagale against Boardsmill, St Peter's Dunboyne against St Patrick's, and Dunderry versus Kiltale. That completes the hurling draws for this evening. Now, our remaining championships, Damien?
Two Premier Championships. Division 1 and 2 Premier Championships.
Okay.
So we've got Jason and John Daly.
John Daly, the chairman of the CCC, and Jason, Central Council representative. I'm just looking at Division 1 is 8 teams. Division 1 is 8 teams in 2 groups of 4. Eight teams, 2 groups of 4. John draws the first one. St Peter's Dunboyne, and Jason, they will play Wolf Tones. This is the Premier Championship Division 1, and this is Group A. Trim will play Ratoath. Dunshaughlin then. The Group A is complete. This is Group B. Dunshaughlin are the first team in Group B. Dunshaughlin play Dunamore Ashbourne. And there should be just 2 more teams. Gael Columkill will play Screen. Okay. Now, Group A and Group B. Group A is St Peter's Dunboyne against Wolf Tones, Trim will play Ratoath, and in Group B it's Dunshaughlin against Dunamore Ashbourne and Gael Columkill against Screen. And we move on to Division 2. And Division 2 has just the 5 teams in it. So the 5th team out, first pair play each other, second pair play each other, the 5th team is a bye. This is Division 2 of the Premier Championship. Premier Championship Division 2, I think is the correct way of putting it. St Columkills will play Navan O'Mahony's. Summerhill will play Simonstown Gales. These are all second teams. And the team with the bye is Centralstown. So that's Divisions 1 and 2 of the Premier Championships. Damien, I think that completes the draws element of tonight's meeting. So, John, I'm going to hand back to you. I didn't thank Adrian Taff, who was here doing the sound and the production. I didn't thank him earlier on. He did a great job on the sound, etc. So I forgot to thank him, but I'll see him again and thank him anyway, but just so that you can all acknowledge it. Thanks very much. Thank you. Hand you back to John.
Thanks, Brendan. Great job again, well done. And to thank Adrian as well. We just want to finish off, folks, with the votes of sympathy. The family of Craig Doherty at Boy